welcome back, or welcome to Rosencourse. We've got a full house here. It's wonderful. This evening we've got Bob Fox, which is wonderful. Hey, yes. Yep. We've got a couple of floor spots before then, but of course we've got the raffle, which is what you've all come for here, really. The first prize is a CD of Bob Fox, and the second is a Who Gives a Crap toilet roll. Yay! If you're watching at home, if you donate during the programme, then you will be put in for the raffle. Everybody here is in the raffle, even you, Amy, you're in the raffle, yeah? And if you can't afford at home to donate, then if you join in the chat, then I will put your name in the raffle. Right, I'm going to sing a song, and I'm just going to kind of ease you into the whole kind of northeast thing, yeah? So there's a song here that's quite repetitive. So if I sing the first time, then you can sing it through with me the second time, can't you? Yeah, yeah. And it's not about a town. Keel, the keel row is they're boats that people used to work on, and the people who worked on them were a bit rough, has to be said. Yeah. And Sandgate is an area near the time where the boats were. As I went through Sandgate, through Sandgate, through Sandgate, as I went through Sandgate, I heard a lassie sing. Oh, that when I went through Sandgate, through Sandgate, through Sandgate, when I went through Sandgate, I heard a lassie sing. Oh, we'll make the keel row, the keel row, the keel row. We'll make the keel row that my lad is in. Oh, we'll make the keel row, the keel row, the keel row. We'll make the keel row that my lad is in. Oh, ways like my Johnny, Celisa Blythe Bonny. He's foremost amongst the many keelmen a coley time. You, ways like my Johnny, Celisa Blythe Bonny. He's foremost amongst the many keelmen a coley time. He'll set and row so tightly, and in the dance so sprightly. He'll cut and shuffle slightly, it's true, were he not mine. He'll set and row so tightly, and in the row so tightly, and settle tightly, it's true, were he not mine. Not bad, I got it right the first time. He wears a blue bonnet, blue bonnet, blue bonnet. He wears a blue bonnet, a dimple in his chin, you know it. He wears a blue bonnet, blue bonnet, blue bonnet. He wears a blue bonnet, a dimple in his chin. And we'll make the keel row, the keel row, the keel row. We'll make the keel row that my lad is in. Oh, we'll make the keel row, the keel row, the keel row. We'll make the keel row that my lad is in. Well done. Thank you. Okay, we're just going to introduce onto the stage Murray Phillips, who is here. Hooray! Murray's been working at the Albion Rooms down the road, and I have to say, he makes a very mean Bloody Mary. Yeah, yes.
That's all it takes to get on here now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate coming. Thank you so much for having me. Hello, as I said. Nice to see everyone. My name is Murray. I've been living in Margate for about 10 years now. I'm originally from Wales, Pembrokeshire. Yeah, about as far west as this is east. So a bit of a trip for a day or two, but always love going home. But I actually met my wife here in Broadstairs. Whee, watch out. Sorry, ladies. And this song I'm going to sing is actually about us meeting for the first time. Sorry, I do apologise. I should probably talk into the microphone, shouldn't I? Anyway, this one's called Circumstance on Circumstance. Hope you enjoy. It's been a long night
kinda hoping you feel the same. 'Cause there's been circumstance on circumstance, longing glance on longing glance. Do you think love is a game? Come on boy, take a chance. This could be our last dance. Hope you feel the same. But this lump in my throat gets so big that I choke on the words that I want to let out. The spotlight is on now. It's time to perform like they're screaming for blood in the crowd. You're all I require, no more I desire, but your love. My words can't demonstrate, compare or imitate my love for you. She glides on over, like a star from the silver screen. She wraps around my shoulders. It's like real life is made of dreams. She said there's been circumstance on circumstance, longing glance on longing glance. Do you think love is a game? Come on boy, take a chance. This can be our last dance. Hope you feel the same. You're all I require, no more I desire, but your love. My words can't demonstrate, compare or imitate my love. For you. But this lump in my throat gets so big that I choke on the words that I want to let out. The spotlight is on now. It's time to perform like they're screaming for blood in the crowd. But this lump in my throat gets so big that I choke on the words I want to let out. Thank you very much.
Murray Phillips. Those of us who are here, those of us who are here will get another song in the second half. Yeah. Yeah. But now it's time. Right. I have to give the grand introduction now that takes the time that he goes round the back and comes in the other door. It's all very slick here, isn't it? Very professional. Yeah. And so...
It's a bit easy to get
It
on the
was.
stage.
It was a bit easier to get on the stage. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Can I introduce onto the stage, please, Mr. Bob Fox? Thank you. It's lovely to have you here again.
Thank you very much. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that it then?
That's it.
Am I starting now?
You're starting now, yeah, yes. You have to do singing now, Bob.
Singing
yeah,
now,
a bit singing, yeah.
Okay, well, been to get my hair cut today. And I went to get my wheels balanced. They said it would cost £7.50 a wheel. That was 15 quid. I thought that was quite a bargain. And then they said both tyres are knackered. So I had to buy 2 tyres, so it cost me 250 quid. Oh dear. Right. So, something's not coming through here. Guitar. Okay. That's what I like to hear. It's not my fault. Great. Right, thank you very much. It is really lovely to be back here. I love the place. It's a fantastic little venue. I'm going to start off with a very gentle song. There's people all around the world at the moment displaced by all kinds of reasons, for all kinds of reasons, for war, for economic reasons, all kinds of things. And when they're separated like this, then they're always thinking about each other, no matter how far away they are. I've been away on tour since about the 1st of October, and I'm thinking about, my family back home. This is a song that was written by Chris Leslie. Chris Leslie's one of the fiddlers in Fairport Convention, and he was doing it on the tour that I was on with them back in the year 2000, and I love the song. It's about a young couple who's just getting together when the Irish potato famine happened, the crop failure, and they all had to leave to try and make things better for themselves. And so the young girl in this relationship, her parents they take her to America, and the young boy, he comes over here to England, and so they have this very sad enforced separation. But while he's here, he never forgets her, and that's in the chorus. A lot of the songs I'm going to do for you tonight have got choruses for you to sing. So in this one, you sing, and so I keep her in my mind. There's a picture on my wall. My love is in America. My love could be anywhere at all. Sounds like this. And so I keep her in my mind. There's a picture on my wall. My love is in America. My love could be anywhere at all. So when you spot that, give it a good sing. Chris never actually resolves the song. It never has a proper resolution. You never find out whether these two people ever get back together again or not. So I normally tell audiences that you can make it up for yourself. You can decide for yourselves whether they do or not, depend on how you're feeling about things. So if you're happy and optimistic about the future and stuff like that, then you might want to believe, well, God knows why you would be, but you might want to believe that they get back together and they have a lovely life and have loads of kids and everything's fantastic. But if, like me, you're a little bit pessimistic about things, you might want to believe that as he goes down to wave her goodbye on a long journey across the ocean, he notices that they've bought tickets to sail with the White Star Line. Brought to this place with my working hands, the sea crossing turned my inside. We left to the sound of a marching band, and we sailed at the change of the tide. When I met Mary, her father said he was sailing across the deep blue for brighter new days in a promised land, and she would be going there too. So I keep her in my mind. There's a picture on my wall. My love is in America. My love could be anywhere at all. Oh, how we cried on that darkest night, with everyone leaving the land. Well, the old generation all sitting tight, but all of us young bucks had plans. And I'm using the name of another man just to get a good job for more pay. And I'll walk these strange streets for a better life. London's the place, so they say. But I keep her in my mind. There's a picture on my wall. There's a picture on my wall. My love is in America. My love could be anywhere at all. Music's the one thing that's traveled well. We all meet and we play from our souls, in the kitchen or the workyard or the Seven Bells. It just gives us a glimpse of our homes. Well, maybe I'll make it to New York State. Maybe I'll just up and go. Or maybe I'll get back to my hometown. I'll see if there's work, I don't know. And I've sent many letters, but to no avail. Her silence is deafening to me. Well, maybe she lives with another man, far across in that new country. But until I know, I'll keep her in my mind. There's a picture on my wall. My love is in America. My love could be anywhere at all. Brought to this place with my working hands, and the sea crossing turned my inside. We left to the sound of the marching band. We sailed at the change of the tide. Now I keep her in my mind. There's a picture on my wall. My love is in America. My love could be anywhere at all. So I keep her in my mind. There's a picture on my wall. My love is in America. My love could be anywhere at all. Thank you very much. Nice singing as well. Good stuff. It's a good start. Yeah, you probably realise I don't come from around here. I'm from a little place called Seaham Harbour, which is on the east coast of County Durham. I love saying the east coast of County Durham because there's actually no west coast of County Durham. And when I was a little lad growing up in Seaham, my dad used to take me on the bus on a Sunday to a place called Sunderland, which was the nearest big place. And we would go to a park called Mowbray Park. And in Mowbray Park, there was a big duck pond, and we would take bread crusts and we would feed the ducks. And we would walk around the park and look at all the statues. There was loads of statues of famous people in the park. And when I was a little kid, I didn't know who any of these famous people were. And then many years later, about 15 or 20 years ago now, I got involved in a project to record songs and stories of famous people in Sunderland. And sure enough, one of them had a statue in this park. And his name was Jack Crawford. Now, Jack Crawford was just an ordinary working class man. He worked on the keelboats that Morag sang about in the first song there. The keelboats were flat-bottomed boats, and they would transport about 22 tons of coal down the river, and they'd be rowed by three people. Sorry, that was three people. Anyway, he worked on the keelboats with his dad. He ran away from home. He joined the Navy. He ended up fighting as a sailor on board the flagship of the British fleet in a great naval battle called the Battle of Camperdown in the year 1797. Now, I know you haven't come here for a lecture, but just bear with me because it's a great story, this. He ended up on the flagship, and the British were fighting against the Dutch at the time, and the Dutch were constantly shooting away the Union flag from the flagship's topmast, which was a sign of defeat. But Jack Crawford, every time they shot the flag away, he picked it up and he shinned up the mast with it and he nailed it back to the mast in defiance. And they went on to win this great naval victory, the Battle of Camperdown, 1797. And the reason I tell you all that story is because two really important things happened that day. One was that there was a phrase invented that we still use today, and that phrase is to nail your colours to the mast. But more importantly, I think, the Union flag was from that moment on known as the Union Jack, after Jack Crawford from Sunderland. Huh? Might even be true. I don't know. If you go home and Google it, you'll probably find that it is one of many reasons that the Union Jack was called the Union Jack. But this is the story in song. It's got a little chorus. The chorus is, actually, it's quite a lot of repeated lines. You sing, nail this colours to the mast, nail this colours to the mast. The third line's always different. You don't sing that, I'm just telling you. And the last line is, nailed his colours to the mast. Now, if you want to be really clever, you listen to the last line of the verse that I've just sung, and you put that in as the third line of the song. So this is the ballad of Jack Crawford. Jack Crawford was a Sunderland man. He worked on board a keel. Up and down Weir Valley, he knew the river well. But then he joined the Navy, and amongst the cannon's blast, there became the hero who nailed his colours to the mast. He nailed his colours to the mast, nailed his colours to the mast. There became the hero, he nailed his colours to the mast. Jack sailed on board the Venerable, the flagship of the fleet. Sailed into the channel, those Hollanders to meet. Now the battle was at Camperdown, and the shot flew thick and fast. And that's when Jack Crawford nailed his colours to the mast. Nailed his colours to the mast, nailed his colours to the mast. And that's when Jack Crawford nailed his colours to the mast. 6 times the flag was shot away, and the chain shot flew like hail. The mast top fell to the deck, and the fleet began to fail. But Jack Crawford, he picked up that flag, and nimble to the last, he climbed atop the main, and he nailed the colours to the mast. He nailed the colours to the mast, nailed the colours to the mast. Climbed atop the main, and nailed the colours to the mast. Well, what a cheer was heard that day, and the English tars fought back. The Dutch were torn asunder, and the cry went up for Jack. Admiral Duncan, he stepped up to him, saying, we've won the day at last. And Jack Crawford, you're the hero who nailed his colours to the mast. Nailed his colours to the mast, nailed his colours to the mast. Jack Crawford, you're the hero, nailed his colours to the mast. called to London. He was sent for by the king. And he says, Jack, you're a hero. And the crowds began to sing. Here's a pension, £30 a year, for you fought them to the last. Raise a cheer for brave Jack Crawford. He nailed his colours to the mast. Nailed his colours to the mast. Nailed his colours to the mast. Raise a cheer for brave Jack Crawford. He nailed his colours to the mast. Now if you go to Sunderland, leave the streets and leave the crowds. See the statue of him, it's standing there so proud. And when you're down in Mowbray Park, just pause as you go past. And remember brave Jack Crawford, he nailed his colours to the mast. He nailed his colours to the mast. Nailed his colours to the mast. Remember brave Jack Crawford, he nailed his colours to the mast. John, can I just get a little bit more of my voice in my ear, please? Just the tiniest bit more. Well, I've just come off the back of a 28-day tour with some very good friends of mine, Billy Mitchell, Benny Graham and Jez Lowe. And we call ourselves the Pitman Poets, and we've done about 3 or 4 tours. This most recent tour was our second final farewell tour. And, it's basically a show about the County Durham and Northumberland coal mining communities and the lives that they led. And many tours ago, Jez wrote a song for us called the Pitman Poets, which is really what the whole show's about. It's about the fact that these old Pitman poets, they were actually coal miners. A lot of them were completely uneducated, but they wrote songs about things that they saw happening. They were there, they were present, and they saw the disasters and the strikes and the inequality and the horrendous working conditions and the complete disregard of health and safety from the private coal owners. And so these songs were telling the truth. It was a way of getting the truth not only around the area, but also down the generations, because they're passed on, they're sung and they're passed on, the information's passed on. And these songs would be sung in different areas so that other people would find out what was going on. Because, of course, all those years ago, you couldn't really believe what was being printed in the newspapers. You know, not like today when it's all... all true. It's got a lovely little chorus, it's very simple. It goes, "These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so." Very simple. Like this. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. We sing our bands to sleep with songs that workers made. We thrill them with black dust bogeymen when the day's done. But these ghosts and mighty giants, they're no fairy tales. Just men that walked amongst us once, and now they're gone. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. They jowled and listened as they hacked and picked. A lifetime lit by lamplight, not by sky or sun. As through the earth beneath our feet they chewed and licked. Some were swallowed by a mighty swipe of the earth's own tongue. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. And the women watched and waited, ever strong and bold. They loved and laughed despite so many mouths to feed. And they cursed the fat cat masters and the lies they told, as they sacrificed good men to the gods of gain and greed. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. Then the pulley wheels and the white machines grew cold and still. Unions were broken by deceit and lies. Sad eyes were left to stare down from a pit boot hill. But the glory of the lives they led will never die. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. And we sing our bands to sleep with songs that workers made. We thrill them with black dust bogeymen when the day's done. But these ghosts and mighty giants, they're no fairy tales. Just men that walked amongst us once, and now they're gone. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. These things I know, for the Pitman Poets told me so. We sing our bands to sleep with songs that workers made. Pitman Poets songs from Jazz.
I'm just going to interrupt for a minute to speak to the people at home, please. If you possibly can, if you could donate a little bit towards the production of this concert this evening, towards everything that happens here, that would be absolutely wonderful. The amount that I suggest is perhaps the cost of a stotty cake. What do you think, Bob?
Aye, a stotty cake, aye. Or a Savoy dip.
Okay. Fair enough. And if you don't know what one of them is, go and look it up. And you haven't lived. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying it as much as we are here. And back to... Oh, Bob, where can people at home buy your CDs?
Oh, don't worry about that. I'll tell them in a minute.
Well, I'm asking you now.
They can buy them on my website, www.bobfoxmusic.com.
Well done. Thank you. Yeah. Brilliant. Back to Bob.
Terms and conditions apply. I'm going to sing you a song that was written by one of these Pitman Poets now, for the express purpose of getting the information around to other people. The original Pitman Poet was called Tommy Armstrong, and Tommy Armstrong was a coal miner from County Durham, from Stanley in the west of County Durham. As I said, completely uneducated. He was a perpetual truant, but he wrote loads and loads of great songs about what was happening in the area. Sometimes it was the strikes, sometimes it was the disasters. This is one of his strike songs, and it's about a coal mine that was in the very west of County Durham at a place called South Medhamsley. And South Medhamsley is very near Consett, if you know the area at all. And the strike took the normal course of events of these strikes, and that was that the private coal owner was trying to get the workforce to produce more coal and at the same time reduce their wages. And they were already on reduced wages, so they went on strike. Unfortunately, also in those days, the coal owner didn't just own the coal mine, he owned the houses that the coal miners lived in. So he would then hire a force of bailiffs, locally known as candymen, and he would send the candymen round to evict all the miners and their families out onto the street. Now, people from the local villages would find out that this was going to happen, and so they would go to that village and they would kind of throng in the streets to try and prevent the candymen from getting down the street to do the evictions. So, in turn, the candymen had to be protected by a big force of policemen, or policers, as we call them. So the two words policers and candymen are often linked together in these old coal mining songs. Tommy Armstrong wanted to name a couple of characters. He wanted to name the leader of the candymen, and he wanted to name the colliery manager who really caused the strike. But he knew he couldn't do that, because if he had done that, he would have got locked up. So in his song, he gives these two characters both false names. But because of the kind of false names he gives them, everybody knows exactly who he's talking about. Now, I don't know if it means the same down here as it does where I come from. He calls the colliery manager Physic. P-H-Y-S-I-C-K-E, Physic. Now, when I was growing up in Seam Harbour, if I had a headache or a sore throat or a tummy ache or a cut leg or anything wrong with me at all, my mother would always give me 2 big spoonfuls of the Physic. Never usually cured the problem, but it did take my mind off it for a couple of days. Because a dose of the Physic is a dose of the opening medicine, if you know what I mean. So we called this man Physic because he reminded him of the results of a dose of the opening medicine. And he called the leader of the candymen Postic. Now again, you won't have a postic down here, but in the very old days, up in the northeast, all the washing was done in a thing called a post tub. And the post tub was just like a galvanized metal dustbin, and into the post tub went all the dirty clothes and loads of hot water, and then 2 little plastic measures of aerial biological washing powder would get sprinkled on the top. And then the woman would get the postic out, and the postic was a big thick piece of wood with a handle on the top, and it was used for moving the washing about in the post tub. And the verb was an ancient Geordie verb, to posse. Yeah. Je posse, tu posse, nous possons, vous possez. So he called this man Postic because he thought of him as a big, thick agitator. And he had the idea that all the miners that were on strike would get a hold of all of these bailiffs, and they would stuff them into the big pans that were being used to make soup and broth to feed the striking miners and their families. And they would make this big soup and stew sort of thing out of boiled up candymen. And then they would get all the private coal owners, all the landed gentry, all the London elite, and they would force them to live for the rest of their lives on nothing but this soup made from boiled up candymen. Canny idea, I think, you know. I think if Keir Starmer was to put it in the manifesto, we might stand a bit of a chance. I would certainly vote for that. Anyway, it's got a really great chorus. The miners of South Medhamsley, they're going to make some stew. They're going to boil Fat Postic and his dirty candy crew. The masters shall have nought but soup as long as they're alive, in memory of their dirty tricks in 1885. That's just Geordie for 1885, right? Sounds like this. Oh, the miners of South Medhamsley, they're gonna make some stew. They're gonna boil Fat Postic and his dirty candy crew. The masters shall have nought but soup as long as they're alive, in memory of their dirty tricks in 1895. If you think it's a bit long to remember, just sing, in memory of their dirty tricks in 1895. And if you think that's a bit too long to remember, just sing 5. And if you could do it with a few harmonies, that would be lovely. I did a bit of research into this post-tub malarkey, you know, and I found that back then, just like today, there was a cost of living crisis, and quite often two women would have to share one post tub, and so you would get this post tub with all the dirty clothes and the hot water in, and you would have two post sticks going. So they would have to coordinate it, one down, one up, one down, one up. Otherwise, they could possibly injure themselves. They had to be really, really careful about it, and they would move round the post tub as they did it in some kind of strange dance. And it actually developed into one of our most popular ballroom dances that we have today. You might have heard of it. It was called the Posse Double. If you're inclined to hear a song, I'll sing a verse or two. And when I'm done, you're gonna say that every word is true. The miners of South Meadamsley, they never will forget Isaac and his tyranny, and how they have been tread. For in the midst of danger, these hardy sons did toil, for to earn their daily bread so far beneath the soil. To make an honest livelihood each miner did contrive. But you shall hear how they were served in 1995. The miners of South Meadamsley, they're gonna make some stew. They're gonna boil Fat Postic and his dirty candy crew. The masters shall have nought but soup as long as they're alive, in memory of their dirty tricks in 1995. Now below the county average then, the men were 10%. But Physic, the unfeeling cur, he wasn't rest content, and the 10% reduction on the men he did demand. And such a strong request as this the miners couldn't stand. So the notices were all served out, and when they had expired, all the gear was brought to bank, and the final shot was fired. To hurt the honest working man, this low-lived man did strive. He'll often rue for what he did in 1995. And the miners of South Meadamsley, they're gonna make some stew. They're gonna boil Fat Postic and his dirty candy crew. The masters shall have nought but soup as long as they're alive, in memory of their dirty tricks in 1995. New Isaac was determined still more tyranny to show. For to get some candy men, he wandered to and fro. He made his way to concert, and he found Postic the bum. He knew he liked such dirty jobs, and he was sure to come. So Isaac told him what to do, and where to go and when. And at the time appointed, Postic landed with his men. With policies and with candy men, the place was all alive. All for the strike that Physic caused in 1995. The miners of South Meadamsley, they're gonna make some stew. They're gonna boil Fat Postic and his dirty candy crew. The masters shall have nought but soup as long as they're alive, in memory of their dirty tricks in 1995. Well, Commander Postic gave the word, and they started with their work. They were done by 5 o'clock, but they daresn't stop till dark. And when they had done all they could and were finished for the day, the policers guarded Postic and these dirty dogs away. New Isaac, he was a tyrant, the owners, they were the same. And for the turnout of the strike, why, they were the ones to blame. Neither them nor Postic need expect they'll ever thrive for what they did to Dipton men in 1995. And the miners of South Meadamsley, they're gonna make some stew. They're gonna boil Fat Postic and his dirty candy crew. The masters shall have nought but soup as long as they're alive, in memory of their dirty tricks in 1995. And in 1985. Strike by the wonderful Tommy Armstrong. I think I'll stick in the northeast for the next one. Morag sang the Keel at the very beginning there, and the Keel is one of our most well-known songs from the northeast, probably only beaten by this one I'm going to sing you now. And they both come from a whole category of songs known as dandelion songs. a dandelion song would traditionally be sung by the grandparent while they were looking after the baby. And as you sang the dandelion song, you dandled the baby on your knee. This is the most famous one, I think, of all. And it goes way back to the time when all the ordinary working people in the northeast would live on whatever the fishing fleet brought in. And back in those days, it was always herring. They would bring herring in, so they would eat herring all the time, and they would get fed up with eating herring, and they would wish that maybe the fishing fleet would just bring them in something a bit nicer, maybe a bit special. Of course, the underlying meaning of the song is how the ordinary working people were always exploited and downtrodden by the rich and the owners of everything. And they were always thinking that maybe one day in the future their wages would maybe start to rise in line with inflation, and they would be able to afford a house to live in, and there would be a fully funded national health service, and they would get levelled up, you know. Have you been levelled up down here? Do you even know what levelled up means? No, I don't. Seems to have disappeared with all the members of the cabinet. So are you all Tories down here then? No? Okay. So you're with me then? You're with me on this one then? Eh? So this has got a really lovely chorus. The chorus is, dance to your daddy, sing to your mummy, dance to your daddy, to your mummy, sing. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mummy, dance to your daddy, to your mummy, sing. Thou shall have a fishy on a little dishy. Thou shall have a fishy when the boat comes in. And if you could just sing the word boat properly, that would be lovely. Because I've been away down south for quite a long time, and I get some very strange variations on the word boat. I sometimes get boat. Just the other day, somebody actually sang ship. I think it was ship, they said, anyway. So, if you don't know the chorus, it goes like this. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy. Dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy. Dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Thou shall have a fishy on a little dishy. Thou shall have a fishy when the boat comes in. Okay, lovely if you could do that. Some harmonies would be nice if you could manage it. As I said, the keel row and this come from that big category of songs known as dandelion songs. And as you can tell, that they're very rhythmical, so that you would have the baby like this, and you'd be bouncing it on your knee. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy. Dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy. And there was a lot of these songs at one time, but they all died out with the invention of social services. Now come here, me little Jackie. Now I've smoked me backy. Let's have some cracky till the boat comes in. And thou shall have a fishy on a little dishy. Thou shall have a fishy when the boat comes in. And dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy. Dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy. Dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Thou shall have a fishy on a little dishy. Thou shall have a fishy when the boat comes in. Now here's your mother coming, like a canny woman. Yonder comes your father drunk, he cannot stand. And thou shall have a fishy on a little dishy. Thou shall have a fishy when the boat comes in. And dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy. Dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. And dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy. Dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Thou shall have a fishy on a little dishy. Thou shall have a haddock when the boat comes in. And Tommy's always fuddling. He's so fond of ale. He's very kind to me, and I hope he'll never fail. And thou shall have a fishy on a little dishy. Thou shall have a fishy when the boat comes in. And dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy. Dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. And dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy. Dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. thou shalt have a fishy on a little dishy, thou shalt have a mackerel when the boat comes in. Now I like a drop myself when I can get it sly, and though me bonny bairn you like it well as I. And thou shalt have a fishy on a little dishy, thou shalt have a fishy when the boat comes in. And dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Thou shalt have a fishy on a little dishy, thou shalt have a codlin when the boat comes in. And may we get a drop, as oft we stand in need, and wheel me the keel row that brings the bairns that breed. And thou shalt have a fishy on a little dishy, thou shalt have a fishy when the boat comes in. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Thou shalt have a fishy on a little dishy, thou shalt have a bloater when the boat comes in. So come here, my little Jackie, now I've smoked me backy, let's have some cracky till the boat comes in. 'Cause here's your mother coming, like a canny woman, yonder comes your father drunk, he cannot stand. And Tommy's always fuddling, he's so fond of ale, he's very kind to me, I hope he'll never fail. And I like a drop myself when I can get it sly, and though me bonny bairn, you'll like it real as I. And may we get a drop as oft we stand in need, and wheel me the keel row that brings the bairns that breed. And dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Dance to your daddy, sing to your mommy, dance to your daddy, to your mommy, sing. Thou shalt have a fishy on a little dishy, thou shalt have a fishy when the boat comes in. Aye, thou shalt have a fishy on a little dishy, thou shalt have a salmon when the boat Oh God, I wish I could win. I wish I could win a toilet roll. Was it bold? No.
One more song from Bob Fox in the first half.
Okay, I'm going to finish this first half with another northeastern song. I'm going to stay in the northeast because I like it up there. Many years ago now, 1978 in fact, I was working with a musician called Stu Luckley, and we made a thing called a long playing record. Some of you will remember them. And it was in the days before there was any BBC Radio 2 folk awards or anything like that, so we couldn't get one of them. But what we did get was Melody Maker's Folk Album of the Year, 1978, which I thought was a fantastic achievement for a pair of 14-year-olds. You know, it was something we were very proud of. And we called the album Nowt So Good'll Pass. And Nowt So Good'll Pass is a line from a great Geordie music hall song written by a man called Joe Wilson. Joe Wilson was a music hall performer, very extrovert, very lively and very humorous on stage. But when he was off stage, he was very shy. And this shyness always held him back in matters of love. And so he wrote this song called The Bonnie Gateshead Lass, about an experience he had one night in a pub in Gateshead. So he was in this pub in Gateshead. It was very crowded, and he's got his eye on a lovely-looking girl at the back, and he decided he'd like to go over and introduce himself to this young girl, using a few very carefully chosen words and phrases that he thought might strike up a conversation that would then lead on to the development of a deep and meaningful relationship. Because that's what Gateshead people are like, you know. Anyway, he's a little bit too shy to do it in front of everybody in this crowded bar. So he decides the best thing to do is to wait until she goes to the ladies' toilet and follow her into the ladies' toilet and have a word with her in there. It's also very common in Gateshead. If you've been, you'll know. And that's what happens. She gets up to go towards the toilet. He gets up to follow her. She's wearing a long dress that trails along the ground a little bit. He accidentally steps on the hem of the dress. She keeps on walking towards the toilet. He rips the dress in front of everybody in the pub, and it's an absolute disaster. Except that it's not really a disaster, because she then immediately turns around and introduces herself to him with some very carefully chosen words and phrases. And by the end of the song, he just about gets what he wants. I have to tell you the story of that song, because this is sung very much in the Geordie vernacular. And so while I'm actually singing the song, you probably won't have the faintest idea what it's about. But it has got a refrain, and that means you listen to the last line of every verse, and then you sing it straight back. And I'll tell you the end of the first verse. It goes, "And the bonniest lass in Gateseed's bonny fies has bothered me." Okay? "And the bonniest lass in Gateseed's bonny fies has bothered me." After that, you're on your own. And at the end, I play a little tune just to finish everything off. I'll play a little tune. It's a slip jig called Elsie Marley, a very famous northeastern character. And then we're going to have a break, or as I prefer to call it, a CD purchasing opportunity. You've probably noticed there's a little table down there, and it's got some CDs on it. Well, there's all three of the Pitman Poets CDs that I've got left after the tour. The first one, the second one, and the brand new one called Bare Knuckle. And then I've got the CD I did with Fairport Convention many years ago. I've got solo albums. I've got the CD I did when I was in Warhorse, of all the Warhorse songs. They're all those CDs on that table are mine. And by the end of the night, it would be great if they were yours. Because it's nearly Christmas, you know, and the bands need shoes. And you don't even have to give me any money for them, because I've dragged myself into the 20th century, and I've got myself 21st century, and I've got myself a little card reader. It's fantastic. It's great. You just come with your card and you tap it on the thing, and it immediately takes 250 quid out of your bank account, and you walk away happy with a CD. No, I walk away happy. That's it. This is called The Bonnie Gateshead Lass. I'll warrant you've never seen me, lass. A name I cannot mention, for fear you'll gan and tell her how I like her. So I do. Why, it's just for lads and lasses for to whisper their affection. The bonniest lass in Gateseed's bonny face has bothered me. The bonniest lass in Gateseed's bonny face has bothered me. First time I saw her, I thought I didn't know her, but I'm sure I'd seen her face before. I couldn't think of where. Her blue eyes met mine in passing up the high street in the morning, and her look was so entrancing that me heart was my name. Her look was so entrancing that me heart was my name. Then I didn't see her for a week, until one night at the bridge end, when I stramped upon her gown, and the gathers that come away. And she told us I was clumsy, and I said that I was sorry, and I humbly begged her pardon. I was licked for what to say. I humbly begged her pardon. I was licked for what to say. So I walked on by her side, just as if I had a right to take. The conversation first was shy, but then it turned first class. We talked about the weather, and she mentioned that her father was a puddler down at Hawks. Oh, me bonny Gateshead lass. What was he? A puddler down at... She mentioned, confidentially, that our uncle was a grocer and our mother's father's cousin was a fiddler on the shore. Then she talked so nice and friendly, she looked both sweet and pleasant. I thought I'd never seen a lass so charming like before. I thought I'd never seen a lass so charming like before. She says her mother keeps a shop. She sells hot pies and candy. And her brother, he's a cobbler in the high part of the town. Now she was a dressmaker and we got on so well together. I'm blessed I'd been so awkward as to stand upon a gown. I'm blessed I'd been so awkward as to stand upon a gown. Then I made her laugh and slap me lug, talking lots of nonsense, I would bless you. When you're courting man, there's naught so good will pass. I asked her, would she be me lass, and I'd take her out on Sunday. And to my delight, she says, I might be Bunnygate's head lass. To my delight, she says, I might be Bunnygate's.
Bob Fox, everybody! Isn't that the tune that the pig does a jig to after it's been hit by a shovel?
Absolutely.
I believe so, yes, thank you. So, we want to thank Bob Fox. Hooray. Also, Murray Phillips. Hooray. And the team here, Phil and John and Chris, yeah? And Lizzie in Galashiels posting away. And in her pinny at the bar, Una! Hooray. Yeah. Next week, we have Sally Ironmonger and Brian Carter on Thursday, which will be fantastic. I love them. Have you seen them before? Yes. Yeah, once or twice, yeah. Come and see them again. They're wonderful. And then on the Saturday, we have a Margate Mayor's fundraiser for the fund. With a lot of people coming to sing. So come and support that on Saturday if you could. That would be great. We are going to take a break here now, and after that we're going to start again. Yeah, you mentioned it. I think we got that, yeah. And you at home, you're free to go now. We'll see you next week. My name's Morag Butler. This is Rosalind Court. Keep supporting live music. Thank you very much. See you next week for Sally Ironmonger and Brian Carter.